Aanand is here on 94.3 Radio 1. I'm having a very tough time figuring out whether you're a better producer or a better director, considering the projects you're choosing. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Hrishi. The first thing is give me one more choice. Na better director, better producer, better human being.
Human being tops. Human being is number one.
Till it tops, it's fine for me.
No, but really, coming out of Mukkabaz, the fact that, Anurag on a public platform said that you believed in him and the film perhaps more than even he believed in. And here we move into Meri Nimmo, which is the complete opposite of that. How do you decide that this is a project you want to back? Are you just all heart or is there some kind of strategy?
I don't know. I think something is working and definitely I'm not making strategies. I think what is working for me is that director in me who had his own journey till now. I think what is working for me is understanding people. When I met Anurag for a different story. I wanted to pitch to him and he said, I'm struggling with Mukkabaz and I want to make this first and then I'll direct this one. So I told Anurag, let me be part of it. And trust me, I always feel that Anurag is a very strong director. He never needed, and he's a producer director. Actually, he doesn't need me. But you at times, I've seen myself also, you fall into this vulnerable state. The phase comes. And I found that Anurag is going through that phase. And I'm just, a bypass for him. And I think Mukkabaz or Manmarziyan are just bypass for him. I told him, अभी मैं तेरे लिए कुछ कर रहा हूँ, 1-2 साल बाद तू मेरे लिए कुछ कर लियो, because phase तो है, या कभी तेरा आएगा या मेरा आएगा.
Beautiful. These are the stories we grew up listening to in Hindi cinema about Gurudutt and Devanand and this and that. And somewhere in between, we felt it had got lost. Maybe it's the media's perception. Maybe you people are always close as a fraternity, directors, producers.
I never felt that there is a gap. Whenever I meet any of my directors, whether it is Navdeep who's making a film for me or talking to Raju sir, I always feel very close to them. मेरे को ये ऐसा लगता है कि if I'm on edit table, I can call Anurag and say, यार देख what you are feeling about it. I can go to Raju sir and say कि यार Raju sir एक बार देख लो, मुझे लग रहा है मैं कहीं climax में अटक रहा हूँ. So I don't think there is a competition, but it's not a cutthroat competition. You are there for each other. We are here to tell stories, I think हम लोग थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा उसको compete कर लेते हैं चीज़ों को उस तरीके से, but rest all we are actually enjoying the process.
I've always noticed that you've treated your associates as family. I remember even back in Bombay Talking, Sandy and all these guys you were their friend, mentor, everything. And now, if I'm not mistaken, Rahul was second unit director?
Yeah, he's my associate director from Tanu Weds Manu. He's been there with me, and the best part is that I know him. I know him as a person. As I say, when you get down to direct a film, knowing an actor and his plus and his minus is great, but knowing a person in that actor is equally important. So if I know my actor, if I know my director as a human being, it's easier for me to understand how and where to give a support to that person. Like in this case, in Meri Nimmo, I know Rahul as a person and he comes with so much of purity, and I know how he will give his heart out to Hemu and Nimmo, and that's what he did. He came up with, I think this is one of the most purest film coming from my production house.
You always watch these foreign films like Malena, Monica Bellucci, older woman, a younger boy, and then you always think that this kind of thing can happen in an Indian context. And when I look at the trailer, I see that it's so Indian. It is a human emotion, but it has been interpreted in Indian terms, and for that you need the right casting. I mean, I couldn't believe when I saw Newton what a performer Anjali is. I'm so glad she has a main leading part. Who's your casting director? How much were you involved in Anjali's past casting, or is it just that you said whatever you guys want?
Actually, Rahul started with me as a casting director. So I think this is his forte. And talking about Anjali, yes, I think we should be thankful to Anjali for being there and like what the kind of support she gave to Newton, and now coming to Meri Nimmo, one of the finest actors right now we have. And I think she deserves more than this, and I think she will achieve it.
And it's so difficult to cast child actors, because either they're very precocious in the sense they overact. Like back in the day when we were growing up, we always used to find that the child actors used to overact. Now they've also got into the natural acting mode. I see all these children's talent shows and this and that. Where did you find this boy from?
Again, the casting, but coming back to kids, yes, it's like if you make films for kids, it's the toughest thing to do. Same way, to make kids act is the toughest because they're not coming with the smartness. they are coming with more honesty than us, even the senior actors. I was telling somebody that if you can make a film for kids, that means you can do anything. Then you can go to any genre. Same way, if you can make your kids act so natural, then you can direct anybody. Because they are the toughest one, not for that you have to teach them a lot. You have to be at your purest best. So to do that, to stay as pure as possible, I think that's the conditioning a director should be in. And when you direct a kid, you need to be in a very pious place. So in this case, yeah, Rahul did a fantastic job with Karan, and Karan again is a very natural actor. But yeah, all credit to Rahul for handling Nimmo and Karan relationship with this kind of purity and this kind of neatness.
You know, I was asked to voice a series on Siachen for Eros Now. Until that time, I didn't even know what the platform was. And then I discovered it and I found it absolutely fascinating, you know, and I said कि boss काम कर रहे हैं लेकिन मालूम नहीं है, and people have discovered it, you know, either by design or by accident. How did you decide that, you know, this is a film you want to give an Eros Now release, or were they partners from the beginning, and why not take the conventional theatre route and give it this platform?
I had decided that I have to start somewhere for the digital thing, you know, for my production house also. Choosing Nimmo for this, one reason was I was in love with the originality of this subject, and I had a feeling that it will get its connect in the interiors of India if we reach there. I know this is the beginning of a digital thing. These platforms are new, but somewhere we had to start, and I think Nimmo was the right thing to do that. And go ahead, and I'm very sure that somebody sitting in Baroda or somebody sitting in Meerut or somebody sitting in Kanpur will love to watch this film. So, and it'll take a couple of years, but I think digital has got a bigger market, a bigger reach.
You know, on my iPhone playlist, there's still Kaise Mujhe Tum Mil Gayi, which is Javed Ali's song, you know, and I'm absolutely mesmerized by his voice. He's in Meri Nimmo on the soundtrack. Yeah. So talk to me about the song and how that came about. And you have a great ear for music. I see all your films, you know, the kind of soundtracking, whether it's Ranjhanaa, whether it's Tanu Weds Manu, they come in at great points, and you know, this is fantastic. Any contribution to the music soundtrack from your side?
No, I'll tell you why. I was very sure about one thing, that the kind of song we will churn out or will create will require somebody like Javed. And that's the reason when I was with Rahman sir also for Ranjhanaa, for that Tum Tak song, we went for Javed. Because, see, again, coming back to this story, Meri Nimmo has got a thin line, you know, on the purity of it. This is, I said, if on an audio level, it should be one lover singing for another. But and on the visual level, it should be as convincing as it is on audio with this kid also, you know. So you have to have that kind of innocence in that soundtrack, so that when you see it, you feel the possessiveness of this boy for that girl. So on audio, it is a complete love story. On a video, there's a lot of innocence and a lot of purity.
You know, like they say in Diwar, there wouldn't be any Amitabh Bachchan without Shashi Kapoor and vice versa. This other boy is quite a rascal in the trailer. And a lot of people are watching the trailer and saying, ye kaun hai, you know? So tell me about the other boy. Who is he? And again, must have come through the casting process, but a little bit about that kid.
What we were looking at when Rahul was working on the script was a different voice. When I say voice, a different thought to come out. You know, Hemu thinks in a certain way. We needed somebody on the counter. So a character was created who can voice out this guy's feeling. So in that scene where he said कि तूने मारा क्यों नहीं उस लड़के को, and says कि मैं क्यों करता, बोला निम्मो तेरे से इतना प्यार करती है, तू नहीं करता, बोला मैं भी करता हूँ, बोला वैसा वाला नहीं वैसा वाला. अब now this वैसा वाला नहीं वैसा वाला, we needed somebody to say it to. And again, coming from a kid, a different kid was required. This is the thing we were searching for, where we are not using any tool of an elder to, they have their own world, you know, of them seeing that Shah Rukh Khan ka clips through those bulbs. ये हम लोगों ने अपनी एज में देखा है और किया है. So to have this character like this, a kid to kid, was actually required. So this little naughty chapter was put in the film.
You know, it's interesting that Madhavan came for an interview for Breathe, for his original, without taking the brand, and he turned around and said that the moment he saw Strangers, he just said he had to work with you, you know, and it was providence and things like that. I was one of the first people to see Strangers, because I remember that you had a screening for, you know, people you were working with at the time. I had the good fortune of seeing it in that Zika theatre, and what a stunning film it was. Do you still, I mean, you're now an accomplished filmmaker, you made all these films. Do you go back to your first film and say, "Yaar, it never got its due." What a film it is.
I'll tell you one thing. But when I look back, yeah, I'm really proud of the film. But I won't blame anybody for it. That it never got its due. It was there with its own flaws. People liking it, few people liking it. I think I was very honest when I was making this film again. But I know where I made my mistake. I learned from it. Strangers, I was not telling a story. I was trying to subconsciously prove that I am a director. And I learned from it that I'm not here to prove that I am a good director. I am here to prove that I am a storyteller. And it's very important for me to focus on story than the director. So that's what I started doing with Tanu Weds Manu. I started focusing on the story. I will not prove it to anybody, anything. I want to end up telling a story to my audience. That's something which I have hold on to it. I'm trying to do that with all the films. Even if I'm not directing it or producing, I'm here to tell a story. Whether it is Meri Nimmo, Zero, or A Strangers, or Tanu Weds Manu.
Lovely. What is Rahul's best quality? You know, when you see your associate make a film, it must be a very proud moment. You know, you must feel like a proud father in a lot of ways. So what is his best quality as a director, as a human being?
Trust me, you see Nimmo, and even if you have seen a 2-minute of it, it describes Rahul all the way, because the man is the most honest man I have ever met. He is a very selfless man, and I think in the next few years you will see great stories coming from him. Something which will be a game changer.
Lovely. I'm going to be doing a great disservice to Meri Nimmo if I start talking about our other projects, so I'm going to avoid it. Just one question. The fact that, you know, Zero is the most talked about the film perhaps of the last 5 years. Aanand Rai in the middle of Shah Rukh and Anushka and Katrina. Sometimes, you know, you're the captain of the ship, but what do you feel? You know, do you feel sometimes like it's an out-of-body experience, ye kya ho raha hai, or are you totally in the moment, ke boss mere ko kaam karna hai? So, I mean, it's a dream cast, it's a dream director. For a fan of the movies like me, you know, I can't wait. I'm counting down the days.
And thanks to these actors, Shah Rukh, Anushka, Katrina, they never made me feel that something huge is happening. They kept it so simple, and I think that was required for a person like me. I look for a very easy atmosphere around me to work, and I'm best when I'm with my friends. And I think I found a great person in Shah Rukh Khan, a fantastic brother in him, who's letting me fly. I'm enjoying the process. The atmosphere on the set is like a picnic, and I won't say when I say picnic, that doesn't mean that we are not working. We know it's a very difficult film. The only way to make this film is to have a smile on our face and go ahead. And I think this will turn out to be one of the greatest experience I have ever had.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.